There we go. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode, live edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin and DK in the background on this busy Tuesday, whether you are anyone that lives in the world or just an NFL fan, being the election, of course, and also, maybe more importantly, truthfully, for some of us out there, it was the trade deadline today, right? So a lot to talk about. Twitter was absolutely on fire all day. And we're going to get right into it. But before we do, we're going to, of course, give a proper shout out to our sponsor of this show. Look, I think there's still time to do a lot of cool betting, and there's a lot of stuff going on the rest of the season. So let's talk about it, Glenn. What we got going on? Because things always seem to be changing over at BetOnline.
Oh, yeah. The one thing that's never going to change at BetOnline is it's always going to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. That's not going to change. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA, NFL, NHL to entertainment and even political prop bets. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted website for online gambling and wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And Jimbo, right now, odds are -6 for the Ravens. So they're a 6-point favorite heading into this matchup Thursday night at home, where the Ravens traditionally, specifically under John Harbaugh, have been virtually unbeatable. And I think they might be unbeaten at home, 8-0 in Thursday night matchups under John Harbaugh. So it's a steep task for the Bengals to come into Baltimore. And the odds are showing that, -6 for the Ravens. But we'll see how they move as the game gets a little bit closer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be a really fun one. Everyone's been seeing the whole Joe Burrow not happy, not satisfied, the look on his face and all this stuff. And I know Glenn has a few thoughts about this guy, but and he's made some of them public about Twitter. He doesn't even like Halloween.
Yeah.
So, dude, I just think I don't know.
Nerd.
I don't even know what to believe. You know something crazy to me? He's moved up higher on the list for me of quarterbacks I don't like than Baker Mayfield.
Baker's starting to become a little bit lovable now.
Well, because look, he ate his humble pie, right?
He did.
And you can tell he's grown from it.
Yeah.
You can tell. And anyway, yeah, man, Joe Burrow's fake energy, this wannabe Tom Brady crap is really annoying.
I've been saying it. It's artificial swag. It's fake. And look, he said, what kind of person? I don't like Halloween. You don't like fun. Okay. All right. Move on, Joey. Move on, Joey B. But look, we got a lot to talk about, and we have to start. We got to start with the trade deadline, Jimbo. The Ravens did make a move. They did make an addition, even though if you look on Ravens Twitter, it doesn't like they did anything. But no, they did something. They did make an addition, bringing in a veteran cornerback to add to the room. And let me just throw that up here real quick. Not that it's going to be any news to anyone, any breaking news, but cornerback Tre'Davious White, most recently of the Los Angeles Rams, but more notably known for his time that he spent with the Buffalo Bills, is now coming to Baltimore. And I think the trade parameters were we basically swapped seventh. So we gave him a seventh in this upcoming draft.
Yeah.
And they gave us a seventh in next year's draft. So basically nothing. We got this guy for virtually nothing. Now, let's get into what to expect from him, Jimbo, because
I believe he's been a scratch the last 4 weeks, right? Healthy
scratch. Played in the first 4 games, and in those first 4 games, not the best results. And Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams, said that he had some regrets on how he was played in the beginning of the season, but the numbers don't lie, Jimbo. He played in 4 games. He was targeted 13 times. Gave up 151 yards total, 11.6 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 5 penalties, and a poser passer rating of 147.8.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, now, look, let's just say Okay, so he had an injury. He had a devastating injury. He had the Achilles pop, and that's coming off of 3 years ago when he had the ACL of the opposite leg. So another classic case of a guy who gets older, former All-Pro player, but gets older, has some injuries, and the questions are, can he ever get back to where he was? He was never a fast player, even in his younger years. So 2 devastating injuries to your lower extremities isn't going to make you faster. So that's an issue. But I will say this, Jimbo, to his credit, I do think that in spots, if you put him in certain situations, he could be helpful. And what those spots are, well, I don't want to put him anywhere where there's speed is going to be the utmost importance. So in certain situations, maybe as a goal line defender, as a guy who can defend the fade route, it's a little bit better than a guy like Brandon Stevens who has trouble finding the ball. I think when you look at what the Steelers have done with Pickens and now Mike Williams, and the Bengals with their ability to high point the ball and just throw fade routes to their wide receivers. Hopkins now in Kansas City, I think he at least would help in that regard to maybe help with a little bit of the fade routes because he does play the ball well, even though he's not a tall guy. But man, and he does have some depth. You know, he's probably our 4th best outside corner right now. But Jimbo, that's about it. I mean, am I missing something?
No, I mean, I think the positives are fair. The concerns are fair. The evaluation that you provided to it is fair. This is my beef, Glenn. Eric DaCosta, can you stop thrift store shopping, please? Because overall, what Eric just did with this move and with oh geez, I'm gonna say his name again wrong. I'm gonna say his name, Yannick Ngakoue, right?
Yep.
I didn't want to say Francis. Yeah, absolutely. These are and Deontay to an extent. These are bargains. These are clearance rack. These are. Any of you guys go to REI? I only shop in the clearance rack because I find REI to be incredibly overpriced. I like the store. I broke 2 strollers and they took them back both. Actually, the strollers broke. I didn't break them. The strollers broke. They took them both back. I appreciate that. Great. But I only go with clearance rack because it's too expensive. All that to be said, Eric, we are this close from being an extremely well-rounded team. We need a pass rush because I swear to you, Glenn, if the Kansas City Chiefs beat us in the AFC Championship game because we have to blitz and we cannot get home without it, and Patrick Mahomes and his blown fake Achilles got a little Ben Roethlisberger in him now, is tearing us up because he can tear up a blitz. I'm gonna be livid. This is just ridiculous to me, Glenn. Why are we obsessed with the scrap heap? Why? I don't understand. Why can't we just go trade for a sure thing? Like, why does everything need to be damaged goods? You know what I'm saying? Even to a certain extent, Marcus Peters was damaged goods because of not his play, but of course because he ruffles feathers in the locker room, right? Roquan, not as much, but Roquan was only on the because they're on the trading block because of the riff of the contract. Right? Yep. So like why can't we just go get a guy from a team that is failing and pay them an nth degree overprice so we can just get the guy we want, Glenn? I'm frustrated. I can't. This is why I didn't want to get my hopes up, dude. Just frustrating for me. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think a lot of Ravens fans feel the same way, especially when you look at, like you said, the compensation to get a lot of these guys wasn't something that looked, crazy. Like a lot of these guys, and I get it. Some of these players who are set to have expired contracts, they will give their team comp picks if and when they sign elsewhere. So you kind of have to keep that in mind and beat that projected comp pick if these guys are eligible. But not every player was eligible. This is only talking about some of the young guys, some of the older guys like Calais Campbell. Why not go out and get a Calais Campbell, even though he might not fix your pass rush? At the very least, he provides a huge boost and a bunch of depth to the D-line room that's suffered major injuries as of late. And he does provide some pass rush from the interior, but at the very least would shore up your run defense. You don't even go get him. And now I have my questions about some of these teams deciding to still try and compete and not sell off some of their guys,
Right.
like the Dolphins, who I think are, I mean, what are they, 2-7? And they're out here still trying to hang on to guys and make a run at it. It's absolutely silly. But yeah, I mean, I don't, at least from and now look, we can't expect the Ravens to operate from a, oh man, the perspective, the appearances. Like, they can't just operate on appearances alone. Like, they can't just go get it just to appease the fan base.
Yeah, for sure. But we're also not a stupid fan base. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, like,
we aren't the Dallas Cowboys fans. Dallas Cowboy fans seem to be a bit delusional. Like, dude, most people know what they're talking about here. Not all.
It was a consensus that everybody thought we needed a pass rush, and it's pretty clear. We can't get pressure unless we blitz, and we know how it goes when you blitz a top flight quarterback. But when you compare us to our peers, when you look at what the Steelers did, bringing in multiple players, including pass rush help to an already stout defense, another jump ball receiver in Mike Williams. You look at what the Chiefs did. If you don't think DeAndre Hopkins has changed the trajectory of their team, you're absolutely out of your mind. That guy has been rejuvenated. He's doing coordinated celebrations with Pat Mahomes. This guy's catching tough balls all over the field. And then they add Josh Uche just to continue to bolster their pass rush.
We paid OBJ $18 million instead.
It's like, it's just head scratching when you see these teams going on. And look, I know the teams, the Ravens have like a method, and they have a game plan that they stick to, and they're not going to overpay for guys. But damn it, sometimes, man, every now and then, leap out there.
Yeah. Now look, this could be one. Now Ozzie really didn't participate in trades, but we don't really know Ozzie in today's game. You know what I mean? In today's environment.
Yeah.
Look, Eric has been great. He's made a fool of all of us in moments where I said it in a tweet. I said, look, just objectively, I don't know how I feel right now about this moment, but Eric did make a fool of most of us with the offensive line, in that, like, now the offensive line is kind of playing like a top 10 line. A lot of that has to do with Lamar. A lot of that has to do with Derek. Honestly, a lot of that had to do with Voorhees getting injured and Patrick McCary being forced to be our left guard.
Yep.
Ronnie's playing out of his mind. So my point is just simply that Eric could be, like you said, feeling really confident, but I just, the thing about the offensive line was we had an opportunity to sit and wait, and we didn't know who the guys were. All the guys on the edge, all the pass rushers, we know who they are, right? Yep. Like, there's nothing new. Like, you guys all know as well as I do, I'm not sniffing a Baconator.
No chance. You're fine. I mean, Oweh couldn't beat a tight end one-on-one last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just not happening, right? Because we know who these guys are. And like you said, Glenn, it's even more frustrating to watch the Steelers go out there and get two guys.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, this obsession with the scrap heap by Eric is really frustrating to me. I mean,
look, they come out and they say, John Harbaugh said, we are of the growth mindset here, not the fix-it mindset. That's what he said, Jimbo. So he is choosing to believe that they can grow like the offensive line did, and that maybe by season's end, this defense will be at least at a level to where the offense can outscore the opposing offense, and they can do just enough, get just enough stops to make that a possibility. But my whole thing is, like, can 11 draft picks make this roster next year? Like, right. I know Lamar's cap number's going up to 40+ million next year, but I just find a hard time believing that 11 picks are going to make this roster next year. And so it's like, so now we're going to take swings next year with these draft picks that we decide to hang on to and potentially cut these guys before the season even starts. Right. We've seen it in recent history with the Ravens, willing to cut draft picks that they, didn't feel like were worth the roster spot. And I wouldn't be shocked if one of these 11 are in that same boat next year. And it's like, wow, we just cut a 5th round pick. We could have used that to go get Calais Campbell, what happened? Like, what are the Panthers doing? Like, why are you holding on to these guys? Jadeveon Clowney, Adam Thielen, JC Horn. Why are you holding on to all these guys when you're going nowhere fast? You're trying to offload a quarterback that you took number 1, and nobody wants him.
Right.
Like, it's just, there's so many teams. It's like, Oh my goodness. I mean, and it's such a mixed thing because it's like the Ravens did good with the 2 trades they got because they got those guys for absolutely nothing, like literally 0 risk on either one of those. But man, take some risk,
Well, that's what I'm
guys.
saying. That can't be the only place that you shop. Even if you think about, you talked about the DeAndre Hopkins OBJ thing. We had a chance to get DeAndre Hopkins. I think Eric's over obsession with getting a guy that is, I mean, yeah, over obsession with the idea of getting a clearance rack guy, right? That ends up being hyper valuable is problematic right now, right? Because D Hop was not in that group of like the take one, leave one penny jar. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't there. We didn't even, you know what I mean? We overpaid for a guy. We probably could have paid D Hop less than we paid OBJ.
Oh yeah. For
So
sure.
like this whole thing is absolutely frustrating to me. It is the one thing that really frustrates me about, you know, Eric's perspective on this thing. Look, he's the GM, I'm not. But I tell you what, dude, I bother and pester and create a call campaign, do whatever I gotta do to get that Mark Davis. And I know obviously he said Crosby not going nowhere, but dude, I make sure every minute of every hour until that trade deadline is up, if he's thinking about changing his opportunity while he's sitting on the toilet, I'm already on the phone with him. You know what I'm saying?
Out,
like
you open the shower curtain, you're already in, you're right.
Dude, I'm there. I'm flying my butt to Vegas and I'm hanging out and I'm doing whatever I got to do. I don't like sitting back. I just
don't want to see this team come up short because of this defense,
and like I saw somebody said, like, hey guys, chill out. Lamar provides this team with an extended window. Okay, that's really cool to say, but
making Lamar do it all.
Right, and I mean, look, we want Lamar to be nothing but healthy and prosperous, but it's not a fair proposition to put him in.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll read this real quick. G. Isaac says, super disappointed in EDC, period. The Steelers got better. The Chiefs got better. We got questionable depth, but we have 11 picks, so we can draft another developmental edge rusher.
Dude, we haven't paid an edge rusher in Baltimore since Terrell Suggs.
You say we haven't paid or made?
Paid,
yeah. What about, did we pay Suggs after what's-his-face? Doomerville? Did we pay Suggs one more time after that?
Mm-hmm.
Did we? Okay.
Last guy. But, I mean, look, now everybody's saying it, and they said the same thing to Chiefs when they got Uche. He's not a big needle mover. Okay, I think he's a pretty good player. Now, Preston Smith, different situation, older guy, does carry a high cap hit. Doesn't have a sack yet this season, but the point is that they're trying. They're kicking the tires. They're trying to improve their roster, and scheme matters. There's no saying that Preston Smith can't get rejuvenated or possibly just fit the defense better here or better in Pittsburgh. All I'm saying is that they were trying. And maybe the Ravens were too, but man, I just don't. I just have my doubts about this defensive line. If they can call, because look, Metabike isn't getting the pressure rate, and people are saying, top 5 in sacks. I get it. We're top 5 in sacks, but we don't cause enough pressure. A lot of these sacks, pretty much all 3 of the sacks last week were all pressure sacks. I mean, all coverage sacks. Like the one that Simpson got, I mean, he was 15, 20 yards to the left, scrambling, thinking about taking off when Simpson came up and tackled him. Like these weren't like impressive, like sacks can be deceiving in a lot of ways. Like look at our pressures. Like it's not
right.
That's where I have my doubts. I don't think sacks tell the whole story.
Yeah. And look, there's one thing to sack a rookie quarterback. You think that Patrick Mahomes is going to get sacked in those situations? No. Even if he's dead to rights, you got to hit him in the exact right spot. You got to know that there's already going to be a holding penalty not called against you. You got to have guys that can compensate for these things, right? Mm-hmm. Like, anyway, just frustrating, man. Frustrating. Ravens O's Nation says Burrow will cook us if pass rush doesn't improve.
Yeah. Come on. Because you can't blitz Burrow. We blitzed him last time, and we're going to get into this. We blitzed him 5 times. He was 5 for 5 for over 100 yards, had a perfect passer rating.
Oh, God.
So go ahead and blitz Burrow if you want.
Yeah, pretty frustrated. But, Glenn, I think we should probably move on to the game, get into our coverage, because it is a Thursday night game. It's a short week. Okay, let me ask you the last thing. And we can talk about this later, or like in another show, but is there a chance that somebody just gets waived? Like, released.
Yeah, that's what. But I don't think it's impactful enough player.
You know what I mean? Where's Justin Houston these days? He got
Last I
paid
heard,
by
he was
somebody.
with Carolina last time.
Yeah,
But I haven't heard, so I don't even know if
he's at home chilling, shaved his mustache off, eating Cheetos.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Let's see here.
Oh, DK says let's get the super chat. Oh yeah, my bad. You probably already saw that. I'm behind.
Yeah, Ravens O's Nation says, also appreciate you guys being real. The positive fans are annoying sometimes. We expect the best here, and we want to win. That's why we criticize. Yeah, and look, I'm always torn with it too because I'm emotional too. I mean, I'm watching. I'm pulling up my phone. I'm refreshing as many times as I can, hoping that I see something. And I get critical. I criticize. I want to see more aggression. But then there's another part of me that's going, I mean, you want to trust these guys. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. They've been doing it a long time, and they've been successful at it. But, man, it's just like, please, just once. Because, look, the Rams took some big risks back in it, but they won. It paid off. Now, if they didn't win, we'd have a different story. But it's not like we were asking for a 3 number 1 pick trade. It's not well, Jimmy's kind of asking for that with Mason Crosby, but I wasn't even Max Crosby. I wasn't even asking for that like crazy split. Just I mean, just something, a little help.
Just a sure thing. That's what it is. That's what I'm you know what I'm saying? We want something that some guy that's providing sure production that doesn't have an asterisk next to his name.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
Just frustrating. I guess that's too much to ask for here in Baltimore for a Ravens fan and an Orioles fan.
Yeah, Massey says, I was on Bobby Seymour's live stream earlier, and he was dejected as well. He couldn't get it either why no pass rusher. Either they're blaming the scheme and feel it ain't talent or calls rejected. I mean, it could be – I would have rather seen all these guys go and then go, oh, they got outbidded. But to see there's so many guys that didn't lead, like what would have really took to get Clowney? Would it really taken like – what are we talking about here? A 4th? A 5th?
Right. And these guys, I mean, come on. We already know Carolina's a bunch of goofballs. So, like, Eric, you can't do your job here? Like, this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't work it out, dude. Get it done. Get the handshake done, you know?
It's frustrating, man. Anyway, all right. Well, let's move on to this Thursday because this is a super important game.
Big time.
I mean, if the Bengals lose this game, they're pretty much toast. If they win, it gives them a ray of sunshine, get a road division game win against the number 1 team in that. Actually, are the Steelers tied with us right now? Are they? Okay.
Well, let's see. They had a bye, right? So we're 6-3. They're 6-2.
Are they really? They only have 2. Steelers, man. God dang on Steelers, man. They're driving me crazy. But yeah, huge game. And oh, man, when should we do that?
And just as an aside, we're, of course, as always, at the end of the show, we're going to do our over-under competition. But at that same time, we're going to announce last week. So we're going to do 2 for 1. We'll announce last week's winner, and then we will get on to this week's competition. It's a truncated week, guys, so we appreciate you hanging in there with us. But we will announce that winner.
All right, so let's move right into –
yeah, we got to –
what is this? Okay, the health situations where we always start when we review these matchups. And as you can see there, if you could zoom in a little, is there any? Maybe I'll do it. I got you. I got to go full screen here. I'm getting old here. All right. So as you can see, Rasheen Ali back at practice in a full capacity. It's going to be interesting to see how they kind of divvy up the snap counts with Keaton Mitchell as a full participant again. So he practiced every day as a full participant last week and this week, and Rasheen Ali. So very crowded backfield. I would imagine if there's choices between those two, that Keaton Mitchell would get the nod. He's a better player and the more experienced player, but we'll have to wait and see. But, man, I am hopeful, and I'm going to get your take on Keaton Mitchell and what we could see from him in a little while. But Isaiah Likely did not participate in any practicing this week. Neither did Brent Urban, which is a bit more expected with the concussion issues. But that's the biggest concern right now is Isaiah Likely. As you can see, there's a bunch of other guys, but most of these guys had some bumps and bruises but were able to participate. Not Isaiah Likely. How big of a loss is not having Isaiah this Thursday?
Yeah, so I still think there's a chance he plays. I think that it's it's an abundance of caution, but that would be a big loss. In fact, I have him down as my. Oh no, I had him down. See, I saw the injury report and I changed him. I originally had him down as my X factor offensively, but I did change him. But I still think this could be an abundance of caution thing. So he could still play. But if we don't have him, that's tough, man. I mean, we even saw him made a play on special teams.
He did.
This past week, the dude is an athletic freak.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a significant loss.
Yeah, and he got some nice plays, and I know one chunk play in the first matchup, so he would be missed if not out there. And Charlie Kolar also had the big play against them. Maybe he'll get some more snaps, but everyone else, including Lamar Jackson, will play. He's definitely dealing with some sort of an injury. I mean, he missed practice last week. He didn't have a designed run at all in last week's game. I guess he's nursing some sort of a knee injury, but are you concerned at all, Jimbo? He's obviously going to play, but does this give you any long-term concern that he's nursing this injury?
Nah. Well, I think that it's a long season.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. Long season, short week.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah, I'm not really concerned. You moved on to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's see. So if we go through some of these, I mean, I think, starting right off, T. Higgins is the one. Let me see here. Just make sure there's not. BJ Hill's another one. So I'm just trying to go through the DMPs real quick for you guys because the list is kind of long. BJ Hill's a big deal. He's a big boy in the middle. And, of course, they're already giving up 130 yards a game rushing. Look at that stat, Glenn. Just right off the dome. You like that?
I like that.
Learn from the best. But, with that in mind, look, I mean, that's not going to make it any easier for them to stop 3,000-pound Derrick Henry, bearing down their faces. So that's a tough one. And then T. Higgins is another one, right? Because when T. Higgins plays, Jamar Chase's statistics are so much more
impressive. What's
the word? Yeah, impressive. There you go. In comparison to when he doesn't, because then you can do so much more to mitigate Chase.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to me those are the two big ones. Any other ones that you think are worth pointing out?
Yeah, well, they did lose Zach Moss to a neck injury.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, though, right?
Team. No, I think.
I thought it was a couple weeks ago.
He missed last game, but that was the first game he missed. And then Eric Gall Jr., the tight end, also on IR, so they're both out. But yeah, that you pretty much summed it up. The big one is T. Higgins and BJ Hill. T. Higgins missing would be devastating for their chances. And then really look for Mike Gesicki to be a guy who steps up and gets an additional target share, in my opinion. They have some issues, some maturity issues with Jermaine Burton, their young wide receiver, who was expected to take on a much bigger role than Tyler Boyd. But maturity issues, tardiness, missing meetings, not showing the attentiveness, getting criticized in the media by his own teammates and coaches is not a good start to your career. But that wide receiver room will be really in desperate times if T. Higgins isn't out there, even if they have their number one in Jamar Chase.
I agree. That's a huge one. So yeah, glad that the Ravens are healthy for the most part. Glad that we have a short list here, and looking forward to the return of one Keaton Mitchell, dude.
Dude,
should be exciting. But let's parlay that right into the matchup here. We're going to talk about the Ravens offense. Glenn is going to break down the stats, and we're going to give you some opportunities and threats to our Ravens offense being successful and key matchups as well. So, Glenn, why don't you fire off some stats about our daunting Ravens offense?
Yeah, they're they're second in the league with 31.5 points per game.
Ooh, scared me.
They're first in yards. Jimbo, they average 446 a game. That's just absolutely insane. Number one also in yards per play at 7.1. Third down conversion, they're fifth, 45.7%. Red zone, they're still number one, 74.3%. Red zone conversion rate. In the rushing game, no surprise, number one, 191.9 on the ground. Number one also in yards per rush, 5.9 as a team, which is absolutely stupid. And here's what's even crazier, Jimbo. Number one in yards per rush at 5.9. Number one in yards per pass, 9.3, Jimbo. How the hell are you number one in both of those categories? That's one scary ass offense. You can be the number one average per rush and the number one average per throw. Dude. I mean, if you're best at both, holy smokes, that's absolutely historic. And that's what this offense is, Jimbo. They're now the number 4 offense all time in history through 9 games.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the other thing you said they're second in points per game right now.
Yeah.
And I think total points for the season were number 1.
Yeah, because of bye weeks. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, you slice it.
Yet, that's all.
Yeah. Anyway, you slice it. Ridiculously lethal offense. Looking forward to it. Let me pull up some stats here for the Bengals defense, and then we'll get into opportunities, threats, key matchups, and otherwise. But the Bengals defense, a bit of an opposite story, Glenn.
Yeah.
They're just not very good. They give up 25 points per game, which is 25th in the league. A staggering 342 yards a game. So that's 19th in the league. You got to tack on another $150 to that. If you're playing the Ravens, just,
at least.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They give up 45% of third downs, 26th in the league. None of this is good. Red zone scoring, 27th in the league at 68%. 3 touchdowns a game, 26th in the league. It's just their only top 10 defensive ranking is let's see, yards per rush. They're 6th in the league at 4.2, which that's half of what the Ravens did last week before even making contact with a defensive player. So that just doesn't bode well for Cincinnati. Let's see. They give up 100, like I said earlier, 132 rushing yards per game. Not a good defense. Really a great opportunity for the Ravens. And Glenn, it's funny. I was really struggling to think of an opportunity for this offense that's specific to the offense. So mine's relatively general, but the offense has an opportunity here to just take the soul. Like, isn't there a Mortal Kombat move where you just grab the heart out and it's like still pumping?
It's also in Dumb and Dumber.
Anyway, my point is they have an opportunity to just literally remove it, right? And say, this is it, Cincinnati. It's all over. Frowning Joey can start smiling again because he's going to be in the Caribbean and not making the playoffs. I think that's an incredible opportunity, right? Because I don't know how much they can pile up in the L column before they feel like they're still going to make a comeback.
Yeah, this has got to be a game where the Ravens are looking at like the nail in the coffin for the Bengals. Like this could be the game where, like you said, guys are starting to plan their off-season vacations. Guys are starting to realize that injury that I've been playing through that's been hurting like an SOB, I'm not playing through it this week. I'm going to take a seat this week. My backup can handle it. I think that's what we start to see, an unraveling of sorts. But look, the Bengals, to their credit, they are going all in. They're not giving up. They know they have to win. I think they can only afford to lose maybe 2 more games and still make the playoffs. So they go out, they get Khalil Herbert. They trade for a backup running back for Chase Brown, who's taken over as the lead back since the end of Zach Moss, and really before that, he's taken this job. And man, he's been a spark plug for him. He's been a guy who's been really impressive. But I forgot to mention the Khalil Herbert trade earlier, so I wanted to bring that up. But yeah,
good point.
Let's see if the Ravens can shut the door on him. And with Likely's injury being, I don't know if he's going to be able to suit up. I mean, there's a possibility. But tomorrow we might know a little bit more, but as it stands right now, I'm going to prepare as though he's not playing. And I think Andrews, as we've seen his role increase, I think we've also seen his health get better, Jimbo. And I think that's probably the biggest issue to start the season, why we saw a slow start, because he is hitting on all cylinders. The routes he's running last week, leaving guys in their dust. It's amazing at his size, Jimbo, because he's not known for he's not going to set the world land speed record when he runs. But for quickness at his size is super underrated. At a guy that size to be as quick off the line as he is and as quick in and out of his breaks, I think Andrews continues to build. And look, he's seen an old nemesis, right? Logan Wilson, the old hip.
I love this one.
I think he's going to have a little extra juice in this matchup, knowing who he's going against. And I think in the absence of Isaiah Likely, I think him and Charlie Kohler are going to be a good 1-2 punch. And Andrews is my key offensive matchup for this one. But man, there's so many. I'm really excited to see what Derrick Henry can do in this one. When you look at their defensive front, like you said, Jimbo, they with DJ Hill, or is it with
BJ Hill, right?
DJ Hill, they're going to be hurting up front, and I can't wait to see what this rush attack has for him, Jimbo.
Dude, I'm excited as well. Really looking forward to it. I was gonna add to, dude. I feel like Andrews is the type of guy. Tell me if I'm wrong, Glenn, that listens to no music before the game, and he just has someone like David Goggins in his ear.
Just telling him just to murder
Because, like,
people.
looking just typing in David Goggins on Spotify. You know what I'm saying? And like, stay hard, like just that on a loop, and like other clips from David, like whatever.
Maybe he has Baker's motivational speeches from college in his ear.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna
You don't think so?
float the old old fella. So no, anyway, yes, Andrews is making a comeback this season. And I agree with you. I know a lot of people have been saying, obviously been playing extremely selflessly, but the health is improving. Feed the boy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get him the ball. And I'm really looking forward to that one as well. I love that matchup. My offensive matchup is going to be Zay versus anybody they want to put up against him in the secondary. Zay Flowers is just absolutely demanding so much attention.
Mm-hmm.
And he is such a problem that it's not like last year. It's not even like the beginning of this year where he was getting 30,000 targets and 5 air yards in 30,000 targets, right? Zay's game is evolving. How Monken is using him is evolving. So I'm really looking forward to see if the Cincinnati Bengals defense can do anything to make up for their relatively putrid performance, not against us last time, but against everyone for the most part in the air. Or if they'll just fold. I mean, obviously, I hope that they fold, and that's what I'm guessing. But it's going to be a fun matchup to watch. I'm looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Zay Flowers. It's crazy to me that we have a receiver who's top 5 in yards and number 1 in the league in run after catch. Like, how did we get here, Jimbo? We got a guy. We have a number 1 wide receiver, and sure, he might not look like it from a height standpoint, but man, watch the guy play. That dude is an absolute freak show. We got ourselves a true number 1. Can't wait to see what he does. And look, maybe we see Deontay Johnson performance this week, and maybe we see 3-4 catches. Maybe it's possible. I think it's possible.
No, I wouldn't put it past him. You know what I'm saying?
Let's work this guy in. Let's see what we got with him. If we can count on him down the stretch, I think Bateman having that ball bounce off his face. I know it was bad luck. But man, I don't know, man. I have my my worries. If a big play down the stretch when it matters most, does he hold on to the ball? So we'll see what Deontay does to add to this offense. But my X factor is Charlie Kohler. He had a big catch in last game between these two. He had that was when he had this famous line, the fat white guy running. When he had like the 50-yard catch, it was just absolutely floated into his breadbasket by Lamar. I think Charlie Kohler gets a touchdown. Doesn't have another long, but I think he gets a goal line touchdown in this one. Kind of sneaky play with his size and his ability to kind of box guys out down near the line of scrimmage. But yeah, looking for. I'm a little concerned about it just seems like Hubbard and Hendrickson just turn it up a notch when they play against this. But I like what I've been seeing from our offensive line, but I just don't want to see these guys
Ronnie's winning this one, dude. Ronnie's winning. He's winning this one. I feel really good about it, dude. Okay. The way Ronnie's been running down Derrick Henry and every single running back every time they make a big play. He's the first one there to like, let's go, and get in everyone's face. In fact, I've seen Lamar tell Ronnie to chill because he's so hyped.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I was gonna put that as my matchup, but I put it for the last game we played them, so I couldn't double it up.
Oh, let me see. What is it? What do we got here? Don C has a comment here. Guys, cheer up, Jimmy. Cheer up. Jimmy looks the same way he did after hearing we drafted Owe. Glenn, tell a self-deprecating story about to bring in good vibes. Is he telling me to tell one, or did I already?
I think he's telling you to tell a self-deprecating story that will make people laugh. That is one of Glenn's callings in life.
Off the top of my head, no pressure here, Don C. Just tell an embarrassing story about yourself. Go. Right off the top.
The thing is, Don, is that if the cameras were off, he would just go.
Oh, dude, I got some that are.
But that's what I'm saying. You just have to be appropriate. That's the thing. Like, you guys know Glenn in front of a camera. You know what I mean? It's a whole different story. You turn the cameras off.
Yeah, because most of them are very inappropriate.
Ooh, I've heard some wild ones, boy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any, but all of them are popping to mind. It's like, I don't think I want to share that
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you
on
can't.
here. Next
Yeah.
time we have a live, Don C, I got to tell you some of the more R-rated stories here.
Woo! Just make sure the cameras are on mute.
Yeah, I know we're
No
all
hot
grown,
mics.
Blackula, but yeah, I can't. There's too many people that watch
Look, Glenn's
this.
gonna live to play for another down.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
what he's gonna do, Don.
But if one comes to mind that's at least PG rated, I'll
There you
certainly, or even PG-13, I'll
go.
bring it up. I'll bring it
I
up.
like
But
it. I like that.
all right, let's move on to the other
Really
side of the
quickly though,
ball.
Glenn, my offensive player, my offensive X factor is Justice Hill. Everyone's
Not
going to be excited about
Keaton
Keaton.
Mitchell. Okay.
Now everyone's going to be excited. Obviously, Derek's doing his thing.
Yeah.
This is a justice game. They can't stop the run, and they suck at tackling in space. We've seen it time and time again from this year, and Justice is extremely hard to tackle in space.
True.
Big game from
I
Justice,
like
baby. Let's go. All right, we're going to switch it up. Let's go to the Ravens defense against the Cincinnati Bengals offense. Let me give you guys some stats about our defense. Look, I talked about the Bengals defense. Doesn't look great. The Ravens defense is not in great shape, but has some better statistics and seems to be trending a bit better. So 23rd in the league at 24 points a game, not great. 21st in the league, 356 yards given up a game. Also not great. Third down, 30th in the league at 46%. Not good. Look, 15th, middle of the road in red zone defense, 55% conversion rate in the red zone. Giving up a shade under 3 touchdowns, 2.7 touchdowns a game makes them 19th. Now, some good stuff. We do only allow 3.4 yards per rushing attempt, which is good. And we only allow 75 yards per game against rushing against us, right? So the only reason I realized all those stats are good, actually from a rushing standpoint, every single rushing defensive stat, we are in the top 10. The worst one we have is the rushing touchdowns per game. We're 7th at still under 1. But I think these stats are a bit slanted, Glenn, only because we lead the game a lot.
Yeah.
And so they're just not running the ball a lot, right?
That's true.
So that does make me a little concerned.
What's the yards per carry?
3.4.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Now, the mounting injuries doesn't help up front with Urban
No.
and Michael Pierce, but both guys not expected to be season enders. And hopefully with the a 10-day rest coming up after this game and then the bye week, of course, coming up here shortly, maybe we'll get some help back up front, at least Urban. I don't know what the status is of Michael Pierce. But yeah, I think their run defense is okay. It's that pass defense that scares the hell out of me, Jimbo. But let's get into what the the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be bringing to the table. 26.2 points per game. That's 7th. Points yards per game, 330. That's 17th in the league. Third down conversion rate. This is where they're pretty good and we're really bad. They convert 46.9% of their third downs. That's 3rd in the National Football League. Rushing per game, let's see, they're 27th at 94 yards per game, and then passing 236, that's 7th, 236 yards, that's 7th in the league. So look, I more so wanted to pull up the box score, Jimbo. Let's not look at what they do against everyone else. Let's look at what they did against us, right?
Yeah.
Because the big thing to me is all going to be about controlling their big plays. That's something we did really well under Mike McDonald, and it's something we struggled with mightily when we played the Bengals in the first matchup here. So let me just only show the Bengals here. I mean, just this right here off the break, Jimbo. Got to be better, right? Like, you can't let Joe Burrow throw for 392 and 5 tutties. Can we at least not let that be a thing that happens? And let's remember, had Marlon not picked that ball off, I think we all agree that we're probably going to lose that game. Like, we should have probably lost this game.
Yeah.
And we stole one from him.
We did. 100%.
So,
that's embarrassing. That's that line.
Can that, and then look, Chase Brown, this is holding him in check. I like what we did on the ground. But again, it didn't seem to matter no way that we made them one-handed. They said,
Right.
okay, that's fine. We'll be one-dimensional, and we'll just throw for 392 and 5 tutties. So I like down here what I saw. I want to keep this.
It's like the slow kid in the neighborhood trying to make me go right. Dude, you're too slow. I'm going to go left anyway. You're just too slow, right? Like,
exactly.
You can play defense however you want, but if you're simply too slow. So, yeah, you're right, Glenn. We can play one-handed and we can make them play one-handed, excuse me. But if we can't stop the right hook, well, then we're still going to end up with a black eye, right?
100%. Yep, you got it. And then look down here, Jimbo. 10 catches, 193 and 2 tutties for Jamar. 9 catches, 83 yards and 2 tutties for Higgins. And then look, even the chunk plays elsewhere. Iosivas gets a 39-yard catch on his only his only grab of the game. Mike Gesicki, this guy's been playing absolutely out of his mind. He had a 19-yard catch, and Higgins isn't out there. Better believe he's going to get many more targets. And then they have some targets to some guys who just went on IR and Zach Moss and Eric All. But you have got to control these two. And too often, Jimbo, did we see a lot of this came after the catch. I mean, Jamar Chase specifically was catching the ball at or near the line of scrimmage and just taking it 60, 70 yards, and nobody was there to tackle him. So the biggest thing to me, my key to this game is tackling on the outside. Because if you can't get Jamar Chase on the ground, if you just let them catch the ball and put them right on the ground where they catch it, we win the game. Like, no problem. We win the game. We win the game last time easily, and we'll win this game if we do that. But if we tackle like we did last game and let Jamar Chase absolutely run wild, Chase Brown is going to be absolutely shot out of a cannon. Watch him out of the backfield. Khalil Herbert, their new addition, if he plays, he can pass block. I think he's given up 1 sack in like 600 pass blocks. It's insane. So he's going to be getting the ball out of the backfield. The biggest thing to me is how we tackle. If we can tackle, Jimbo, I think we got a chance here.
I like that. I like that, Glenn. I think that's a huge factor in this game. Just simple tackling can mitigate a lot of big plays, right? Let's be honest. I think that's a great point. My key to this, I don't know why I did this, Glenn. My key to this game is not a key. It's a matchup because I'm a moron and I did this too fast. But look, we've got to mitigate. You talked about it, but we've got to find a way to limit the impact of Jamar Chase at the end of the day, right? And with Higgins potentially being out, it's going to make life easier. But to your point, Glenn, a huge play they had in this game and in other games past have been his ability to run after the catch. Just like you said, we've got to tackle. But if we can limit his game, the last Thursday night game that we went to, it wasn't the game that he hurt his arm, right? No, it was a Sunday night game that we went to, wasn't it? The Bengals game? I don't think that was Thursday. I think it was a Sunday night game. I don't think we went to the hurt wrist one.
No. Wasn't that on the road?
No, that was in Baltimore. Because Joe talked about, of course, how the Ravens, the NFL sending him back to where he got himself hurt and whatever. But the point is that in that game, I think the stat line for Jamar Chase, the one that we went to, was really embarrassing for him. And everything stayed in front of us.
Yep.
That's what we need to do. I mean, it's easier said than done. I realize that, but that's a really important part of this game. And Glenn, my defensive X factor of this game is Tre'Davious Washington as a part of the unit that's going to do that. Tre'Davious and Kyle Hamilton both graded out extremely high this week in PFF. I'm done with the other guys. I want Tre'Davious as the running mate.
So just 2 safeties. Bench both the other guys.
Well, whatever. I mean, look, whatever. Yeah, I'd rather have, if you're going to have 3 guys out there, throw in another corner out there. The drop-off is bad after Tre'Davious statistically this year, right? So, why put a guy out there just because he plays a position?
Man, it just sucks because we're only paying, really 2 guys now in the secondary, and one of them is grossly underperforming to the point of being benched.
Yeah.
It's just, that's disappointing, man. Lots of money tied up to a guy who's just not playing up to that contract. My defensive player, my X factor, first time I put him up here, Jimbo. I mean, Tavius Robinson is probably our best pass rusher, and it's just because of his relentless motor. It's not because he has the best moves, because he doesn't have the best moves.
And he's crazy strong. You can tell.
Yeah, and he just loves him some ball, loves the physicality. I think he's just going to run into some sacks because Joe Burrow's just going to hang on to the ball and feel confident in doing so and hope he gets guys open. And then Tavius is going to come out of nowhere and get a coverage sack. I don't necessarily think he's gonna really ever develop into like a 12 sack guy. I don't think that's his. But man, every play he's gonna play hard. He's gonna play his ass off, and he's gonna continue to get better. So he's my X factor. Outside of him, I mean, Kyle Van Noy. I mean, who do you feel good about on the outside of getting sacks? I mean, I do about Kyle. Like, I do think Kyle Van Noy has like the best pass rush moves and the best plan. It looks like going it, but he hasn't been impactful since he won Defensive Player of the Month a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, you're wrong. You're not wrong, Glenn. And I just want to say this: am I 2 for 2? Am I trending to 2 for 2 with Brandon Stevens and Tavius Robinson?
Dude, I mean, look, last year I was like, you sure about this, Jimbo, with Brandon Stevens?
You want to die on this hill?
And then that works out. And then this year I'm like, is he just pulling guys from the bottom of the roster? Like, was he just trying to get lucky? And then look at this guy.
Dude, we've seen the athleticism. Like, we saw it in obviously in a much more limited fashion last year in camp and et cetera. But yeah, I'm excited for this kid. But you're right. It's crazy to think that he's now he's the top dog, right? He's first chair in the room.
Yeah.
Right now.
He is. Yeah.
Scary. And guess what, Eric? You didn't make a move. Thanks, Eric.
Tavius is going to keep getting better, Jimbo. That's why.
It's a lot to put on that kid's shoulders, man.
Growth.
It's a lot.
Mindset. Growth.
Cool.
That's
Since he's got Chris Jones, we got Tre'Davious Robinson.
No, we have Justin Metabike.
Yeah.
Don't forget about. And by the way, Metabike needs to step his shit up.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's been getting plenty of attention, but he still does. I mean, if Jones has plenty of statistics, right?
Everyone knew about Jones. Look what he did to us.
Right. No, you're right.
Absolutely embarrassed us. But yeah, I mean, I meant to bring it up earlier, and I thank Maryland, Texas for reminding me to do so. I saw a lot of people predicting that White might make a transition to safety, and that Tre'Davious might be the third safety. My only question is, how can they expect a guy who's played corner his entire life, and every level he's played corner, to in week 9 transition to not only a new team, learn a whole new playbook, learn all the new verbiage, but also change positions and become a free safety? Like, if that's the case, that's the plan for him, okay. But now, in the middle of the season, I have my doubts that that's a realistic plan.
Yeah, agreed. No, I mean, that's just outlandish to even think about.
But I did see a lot of people talking about it on Twitter. Some speaking as if it's like a foregone conclusion, but yeah, I don't see it. But hey, I think he has the potential with given an off season.
Sure, but like, come on, dude, we're mid-flight.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we talking about here? All right, well, let's get into it, Glenn. It's of course a truncated week, like I mentioned, so we have to talk about our over/under competition. Before we get into this week's, let's talk about last week's winner, and then after that, DK, of course, will put in his really awesome music, and then we'll get to this coming week's one. But let's roll through this, that way we can get to the next one. Okay. I will do us all the pleasure. Let's see. Number 1, over Lamar Jackson. Oh, I guess the result was over. Is that what you're saying, DK? Yeah, Lamar Jackson completion rate 68.5%. You guys guessed it. Over. Lamar Jackson had a perfect passer rating, so we can assume that he completed more than 68% of his passes. Salud. Bless you. Next one. Bless you. Derrick Henry carries. 16.5 was the line. He went over with 23, added 2 touchdowns as well, and about 1,000 yards. All right, let's go to number 3. Ravens defense or passes defensed. All right, I got that one right. 5.5 passes defended is what I'm going to say here. Just feels better. Was the line. We went over at 7. Let's go to the last.
Lot, dude. That's a lot of pass breakups.
It is. It is a lot. Let's see. Broncos receiving yard, 37 receiving yard long, or sorry, excuse me, receiving long. 37.5 was the line. 34 was the long. DK, wasn't there one that went longer than this on a broken tackle?
God, I suck. Sorry.
No.
Just open the doc. I suck.
I didn't open it. Did DK win?
I suck. I don't know who won. I know I suck.
Well, the first tiebreaker, for those of you, of course, who are still in it at this point, Glenn obviously is not. The total score was 40, or the line was 44.5. The Result was 51. So over obviously was the result. And then the last tiebreaker is closest to the pin in fashion. It's total yards for the Ravens. The result was 396. So, Glenn, DK wins. DK, did you win in the tiebreakers? Of course, yeah, you won in the tiebreaker.
The
second tiebreaker
because you know why?
I
Because
was
you
too
went
ambitious.
450.
Yeah.
450. And then look, I try to be a smart ass and go, I'll take the low number. And it goes right between you two.
Man, how much of a sore loser does Glenn sound like right now, DK? I'm okay not winning as long as Glenn doesn't win.
That's bullcrap. I need the tally to know how far down I am, because that's the part that scares me. DK's starting to run away with it. Like,
we're gonna have to start calling you the Cincinnati Bengals, dude.
Damn, that hurts. That hurts to hear.
Oh, I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, let's go to the next one, DK. Let's do this week. Oh, and then we got to announce our show winner, of course. I think it's the first one. Glenn, you want to announce this one?
Yeah, fan winner this week was Rayshawn Jones, 4 out of 4 in the stats. My man was absolutely perfect. So, Rayshawn, if you could be so kind, send us a private message on one of our social medias to give us your size and address, and we will send you over some swag. Appreciate your participation and all who participated. If you want to participate in this week's, good news, it's coming up right now.
Right now. Let's do it.
All right, right into next. Right into.
What?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Quick turnaround. That's right. Week 10 over-under competition is here on a Tuesday. Let's get right into it, DK. What's the first one? Zay Flowers receiving yards. Receiving long. So his longest reception of the day. Will it be more or less than 35.5 yards, Jimbo?
Hey, it's going to be over.
Over.
You guys will notice it's a common trend for me in this particular week.
I'm going to say under. I'm nervous about this one. The only reason I've really said under is because you guys both said over, and I want to win, so I have to pick something different. It does make me nervous knowing he leads the league in yak yards, and he's also 5th in receiving yards.
Why are you outsmarting yourself, Glenn? You're pulling a Monken over here.
Or am I just next level big brain, double 200 IQ?
Well, you're
don't
win-loss column.
Be nice, Jimmy. Be nice, okay?
Fair. Right. I'm just trying to help you out, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you're really concerned with helping me. DK and Jimmy say over, I say under. All right, next one. Keaton Mitchell carries 1.5. This is my favorite one by far because I can't wait to see what Keaton Mitchell looks like when he gets out there. If he looks like Keaton Mitchell, Jimbo.
Yeah. Probably.
I mean, you're talking about the 4th most historic offense through 9 games in the history of the league, and they're adding Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the more tough one DK would have been yards because he can go 1 for 50.
He could.
Of course, we set the line at 1.5 carries for Keaton Mitchell. Glenn, what say you, dude?
Over. I say if he's active, and why shouldn't he be active?
Yeah,
he has to be active.
I'm with you.
How could he not get 2 carries?
Yeah, I'm there.
He's going to get 1, dude. DK's going to.
I know. I'm with you.
And like you said, I'm with you. It'll be 1 for 59 yards and a touchdown. He's going to hit 22 miles an hour.
I mean, that'd be great, but obviously that would suck for the sake of the competition.
Yeah.
All right, DK, what else we got?
Oh, that's right. This is new helmet week, Jimbo.
Yep, it is. They've been practicing with the purple.
By the way, every time I see it, I always think, I wish they had the sideward-facing bird on there.
Me too.
Every time it would look better. It would look better. I love the helmet, but it needs to be better. I like that too. I like that.
Like the shield.
Showing off the shield that you guys cannot see. Number 3, Roquan Smith total tackles. This one is an absolute layup. I get why DK put it at 5.5. Roquan only had 3 tackles total last week, which is
an anomaly.
Stupid. But he had, 15, I think I said, in the previous matchup. So I say over.
Same. It's over. It's Roquan. Yeah. No justification needed.
I think he could have put it at, what could he have put it at before you said under? What would the number have been?
8.
Had to have been? You would have said under 8?
8.5. I would have thought about it just because of last week.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now you know, DK. That's where you could have put it. Number 4 over under is Jamar Chase receiving yards. He sets it at 75.5. I mean, how could I ever say anything but over after what he did to us last time and what this defense has done all year, right?
Yeah, same thing.
I hope I'm wrong. And DK obviously says the opposite. So
I hope you're right, DK, and I hope that we're wrong as well. But I had to put over for the sake of this.
I want us to win, but I hope DK's wrong. All right, next one. First tiebreaker is the total score for the game. He sets it at 52.5. Just shows you how these offenses are performing. That is an absolutely insane over-under, and yet over is my answer.
Yeah, I'm going over here as well. I mean, I think that it's pretty easy to get to the over here. I think the Ravens win this one 38-33, which goes over 50.
I'm going to say 31-30, Jimbo.
Dang, I like that.
Absolute
I like that one
battle.
too.
DK says over as well, so all three agree. And then last one, tiebreaker, total yards closest to the pin. Jimmy continues his absurd predictions that tend to turn out correct. 500 yards, 500. Jimbo.
500. I'm going with the 500 spot. We're at home, and if it's a shootout, it's a close game and a relative close contest. So yeah, 500. Could have been more this last week. We let off the gas.
That's true. Didn't have most of our key players play in the fourth.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 420 just because I like the number, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm going to say 420 because I need to win, and I think that's a good number. DK says 400, so he's hoping for a low one this week, but
he ain't getting that. Sorry, DK. This is where you lose. As me speaking to the winner, of course, DK.
The current reigning and defending champion.
Yeah, and if you guys want to participate, as always, make sure to message us in Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or submit it in the comments once this video is done being live, and DK will record it, and we will let the winner know for their opportunity to get some swag. But that's it for us tonight, folks. We're looking forward to Thursday. We'll be right here after the game. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you.